Draft rumors are escalating as a current NFL exec has linked the Jets to a first-round quarterback who he believes will be an upgrade on the current plan that the New York Jets have in place, and we got to break this down. So what's up, guys? I'm Matt Long. Welcome to Jets Digest. Before we hop into the video today, only 24.1% of viewers are subscribed to the channel. So if you are not subscribed, please take a second, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me out a ton. But hopping directly into what we got for today via Bleacher Report, ahead of their impending release of Aaron Rodgers, the New York Jets are facing significant questions at the quarterback position with no clear-cut answers. One NFL executive told The Athletic's Mike Sando that he expects the Jets to select Ole Miss quarterback Jaxson Dart with the 7th overall pick in the NFL draft. So if you don't know, or at this point of the combine of the NFL pre-draft process, you probably know who Jaxson Dart is, but he is the quarterback out of Ole Miss, one of the SEC's, that is the Southeastern Conference, leading passers in yards, touchdowns, led Ole Miss almost to the playoffs. They were ranked 13th, just on the outside looking into the playoffs, but he had a great season. Currently, he is skyrocketing up draft boards, and this nameless NFL executive has linked, he thinks the New York Jets are taking Jaxson Dart in the first round. I don't have a problem with taking a quarterback who you think could be the future. My problem is the reasoning that he's going to go ahead and give us here. His reasoning is they got to go get a quarterback, and this might be where Jaxson Dart goes. They are sitting with Tyrod Taylor as their starter right now. So we gotta go get a quarterback. We need a better reason to take someone than that. I understand, yes, we need to have a quarterback if we're going to be a high-level, winning, functioning NFL franchise. But you don't get to being a high-level, winning franchise by reaching on guys. And Jaxson Dart at 7 would be a ridiculous reach for the New York Jets to take if they were going to go ahead and even consider to take this prospect at this current draft position. I mean, this is a guy who runs a college offense. His offense will not translate to the NFL. So when you scout his offense, you can't even determine how well he is going to be able to translate to the NFL and real NFL big time schemes, because everything he's asked to do is broken down for the college game. In college, the hash marks are farther apart. So different things will work in the college game that won't work in the NFL. And these reads are different because they're a lot easier in college. Obviously, the quarterbacks aren't as good as the NFL quarterbacks. So the coach schemes some stuff up to make it easier on their players. Lane Kiffin, one of the head coach for Ole Miss, one of the best offensive game planners, play callers in college football. So he made it easy on Jaxson Dart. But I always talk about how Jaxson Dart also doesn't have any elite traits of what you're looking for, and a very prominent website, Pro Football Focus, they completely agree with me. So taking a look at what they had to say about Jaxson Dart, these are just a very, far gaze at what they had of the breakdown of who Jaxson Dart is. A pro they had for him, he's a true distributor. He constantly gets the ball or where it's designed to go in the Ole Miss's offense, depending on the coverage. So obviously, that's a good thing to see. He's a guy who throws the ball. One thing mentioned in this article that I don't have up on the screen, but trust me, it was there. They said he's not a one-speed thrower, which means he can adjust his pass and how hard and the trajectory of the ball he can adjust when getting it to a wide receiver. This is to account for stuff like how long the pass is there a defender in the area, and he can throw with more accuracy and place balls in different spots depending on what the defense calls for. So that's a pro that we're looking at with Jaxson Dart. And what they have here, the bullet point summing up all of their cons for Jaxson Dart was Dart lacks an elite trait. While Dart brings really good qualities and shows flashes in certain areas, he is without a defining characteristic to be an elite prospect. So these elite traits are stuff like size, elite arm strength, elite athleticism, or elite processing. Elite size is like the Josh Allen, 6'4" to 6'6" is what you're looking for with that. Elite arm strength, again, we can look at Josh Allen, we can look at Patrick Mahomes, the guys who can throw the football like 80 yards. Those are the guys that have elite arm strength. Elite athleticism is something like Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, guys that can run for an 80-yard touchdown or just juke guys out in the backfield until a play is open, until someone can get open down the field and they can just make one of those plays that just ends up on highlight reels forever. Also, elite processing. This is what Bryce Young had coming out. His coaches have failed him. We got to make sure we are in agreement on that. Bryce Young's coaches absolutely failed him. Frank Reich getting fired after only 11 games and just putting out the worst possible offense. The jury's still out on Bryce Young, but elite processing is the ability to read the field very, very quickly and manipulate the defenses into doing one thing, and then you as a quarterback can trick them and do something else and make great plays. So Pro Football Focus also talked a little bit more about these elite traits and why they're important. They said, when looking at quarterback prospects, scouts try to find elite traits. Does a quarterback have elite arm talent and playmaking ability, or is he an elite processor who is consistently one step ahead of the defense? The elite quarterbacks in today's NFL all have at least one trait that they can bank on. Guys, this is the number one reason why the New York Jets cannot select Jaxson Dart at 7. And it's also why they shouldn't be taking Shedeur Sanders in the first round. Neither of these quarterbacks have elite traits. Yes, let's talk about, we're not going to talk about Shedeur Sanders, but we're going to talk about Jaxson Dart here. 6'2". It's not the 6'4" to 6'6" that you're looking for, but it's not that small. So maybe you can get away with that. His arm strength, it's above average, but it's not elite. Athleticism, again, above average. You can call some run plays for him. You can let him, he's going to be mobile in the pocket, but he's not elite. And then the processing is a humongous question mark with the offense that Ole Miss runs. So what can you even expect out of Jaxson Dart at the next level? We don't know. He looked pretty good processing at the Senior Bowl, a very small sample, but that was a new offense for him. So it was impressive to see him working out like that in a new system that wasn't Ole Miss's. But taking Jaxson Dart at 7 is how you end up with guys like Zach Wilson. The overdraft of taking the guy too early. At least with Zach Wilson, you could sell me on this guy's got elite arm strength. So at least Zach Wilson had an elite trait. Jaxson Dart just doesn't bring anything elite to the table. And I frankly cannot figure out why he's being considered in the first round right now. I know quarterback is very, very important. And right now, with the lack of quarterback talent that's in the NFL, teams are always looking for more, but that doesn't mean you go out and reach for one like this. We look at the best teams in the league, the teams that were in the conference championship games. They all took quarterbacks where they were supposed to go. You look at the Chiefs, traded up for Mahomes when he fell down the board. That was a value. Philadelphia Eagles, Super Bowl champions, got Jalen Hurts in the second round. Another value. And you can just keep going. We look at the AFC with those elite quarterbacks. Lamar Jackson, a slide. He went later than he was supposed to, but traded up to get him at a value. Josh Allen, drafted where he was supposed to be drafted. And who else am I looking for? Joe Burrow, first overall, but he was deserving to be a first overall pick because he had a rocket arm and he had elite processing, elite traits that Jaxson Dart does not have. So I understand why some Jets fans are watching Jaxson Dart highlights, watching Ole Miss games, even watching film, and being excited about this guy because he seems like a winner and he seems like someone that is going to help the New York Jets out long term. But I urge Jets fans to be patient when it comes to looking for the quarterback, because we don't just want a quarterback. We want the quarterback. We need the guy who can compete with Josh Allen in our own division, Patrick Mahomes in the AFC, Lamar Jackson in the AFC, Josh Allen. Is Justin Herbert going to figure it out? I mean, Justin Herbert, maybe Justin Herbert doesn't have any playoff wins, but he's a lot better than the quarterbacks in this draft class. So, I mean, we got to get the guy who gives the New York Jets the ceiling of a Super Bowl. Jaxson Dart doesn't do that for you because of the lack of elite traits. The Jets have to use the 7th overall pick either to trade down, acquire more draft capital, and hope there's an elite quarterback at the top of the 26th draft, or they need to take a player that is actually elite at their position. Yes, the position will be less important than quarterback, but at least the New York Jets will have an elite player to show for their 7th overall draft pick. Just imagine if instead of reaching for Zach Wilson back in 2021, the New York Jets grabbed any of those elite guys, just any of them. Imagine this team could have Jamar Chase. This team could have, maybe Kyle Pitts' career looks different with the New York Jets. He just hasn't had the right quarterback play. I mean, Micah Parsons. There were so many elite players that the Jets could have went with, but they took Zach Wilson just because he was a quarterback. It wasn't the right pick. We cannot allow history to repeat itself. Woody Johnson, let Darren Mougey make the pick. Do not stick your fingers in this draft pick, please. But, if Darren Mougey says Jaxson Dart's the guy, maybe he's the guy, but hopefully they decide that he is not the guy. But that's what I got for this one. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're new, and as always, go Jets.